Hello everyone, welcome to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. Today we are back with the following list of topics to discuss. So let's start. The first topic says about Agnipath scheme is in the national interest that has been recently referred to on by Delhi High Court. So why this Agnipath scheme was in news? Because we have seen that under this new scheme, around 45,000 to 50,000 soldiers that will be called as Agniveers will be recruited annually for a short period, and most will leave the service in just 4 years. And out of the total annual recruits, only 25% will be allowed to continue for another 15 years under permanent commission. So therefore, we can see that because of such number of things associated with this Agnipath scheme, various number of contest has been occurred, and various number of this particular people who are concerned with this particular forces jobs. So they have directly put up a case in the Delhi High Court. So therefore, we can see that there are various number of concerns associated with the scheme, such as the present benefits and security of the job will be lost, doubts about the trainings, then erosions of loyalties. Okay, then we can see about the similar schemes in other countries. So all these factors are basically associated with such number of activities, and therefore we can see that in such a scenario, such a case has been filed in the Delhi High Court, and today we could see that Delhi High Court has given the decision that this scheme is in national interest, and therefore the plea has been directly rejected on the respective cases that has been filed with respect to the Delhi High Court. Okay, so that was basically news with respect to Agnipath scheme. So please do remember what is this particular scheme. Next, National Science Day 2023. So we know about C.V. Raman. Okay, so he was a very familiar person, okay, associated with the country of India, who went on to give the Raman effect. Okay, so the theme of this National Science Day of 2023 is Global Science for Global Well-being. Please do remember the 28th February, which is today, is celebrated as National Science Day, and the theme of this particular year is Global Science for Global Well-being. Okay, so therefore recently we can see that here it is to commemorate the announcement of the discovery of the Raman effect. Okay, so we all know about the Raman effect, which has been greatly discussed by this particular person who is known to be C.V. Raman. Okay, so therefore this, when I say about this Raman effect, which has been discovered by this particular person of C.V. Raman, it was a familiar of scattering that is defined as the scattering of photons by excited molecules at higher energy levels, which is known as Raman effect. Okay, so therefore we can see that this particular person and this year's edition is being celebrated on a theme of this particular one in the light of India's G20 presidency. Okay, and therefore it was basically in news. So it was a very short news associated with a Raman effect. Okay, next, China blasts US agency's COVID-19 lab break report. So you can see that US Energy Department concluded that the pandemic most likely arose from a laboratory leak. Beijing accuses Washington for smearing the countries and politicizing the scientific researchers. Okay, so if you can see in associated with this respective thing said by China, तो China recently said that यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, US और China के बीच में जो tussle है, okay, that tussle is leading to some of the other areas, and therefore we can see that today such tussle is having some number of enmity, and it shows how US is hating China in terms of its every policies that is associated with COVID-19, because we know that during this period of time, so we all know that how China did not allow any of these agencies to directly come to their respective country and directly take the research of their respective labs from which there has been reports of leaking this respective virus of COVID. तो यहाँ पे Wuhan lab के बारे में बात बताया जा रहा है. Okay, so therefore today this type of tussle is directly going on between US and China, so as to know about the reality about what happened inside the lab of Wuhan, which made the whole world suffer. Okay, so therefore this is the type of contest that has been seen with respect to US and China. Next, Millet International Initiative for Research and Awareness. So what is all this? So we can see that recently, okay, India is holding the presidency of the G20 from December 1, 2022 to around November 30, 2023. And during India's time, G20 president, the country is committed to maintaining its focus on food security. And towards this goal, India plans to propose the launch of global initiative to encourage millet consumption and production known as Millet International Initiative for Research and Awareness, also to be known as MIRA. Okay, so MIRA aims to coordinate millet research programs worldwide and the UN's declaration as the International Year of Millet 2023 has been instrumental for India to be at the forefront in celebrating the Millet Year. So Mira is in line with this declaration, and therefore we can see that Millet Secretariat is in Delhi. Okay, so the vision is to make millet a people's movement alongside positioning India as the global hub of millets. So that is respectively with this thing which is to be known as Mira. Okay, because we all know that even the Food and Agriculture Organization recently has said that millets are an ideal solution for countries to increase self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on imported cereal grains. Okay, so therefore today we could see that this Mira is basically is in use. Okay. Lastly, if I see about the editorial, what has been discussed, unpacking the new set of e-waste rules. So the first set of e-waste rules introduce extended producer responsibility, which made producers responsible for the safe disposal of e-waste once the consumer discards them. So the e-waste rules 2016, which was amended in 2018, included provisions to promote authorization and product stewardship stakeholders such as producers responsibility organizations. So these PROs acted as an intermediary between producers and formal recyclers. So therefore today, if you see about the key provisions of the e-waste management rules of 2022, unlike the earlier rules, the new rules provide for the registration of stakeholders. Also, a digitalized system approach is now required, and the above provisions will reduce the frequency of false trial associated with the scrap to meet the targets. But today, we could see that there are various issues associated with this particular guidelines of 2022, which says about weak monitoring system. Also, the important stages of e-waste recycling, basically the component recovery as well as the residual disposal, are briefly touched upon. The informal sectors, which plays a crucial role in e-waste handling, draws no recognition in the new rules. Also, it does away with PRO and dismantlers, and also its responsibility of liking with the authorized recyclers. So therefore, today, if I have to see about the e-waste rules, ensuring the requirement of the recovery tangent is very much essential, and therefore there is a need for increased consumer awareness, strengthening reverse logistics, building capacity, improving existing infrastructures, and also adopting some of the green procurement practices. So therefore today, if I have to go for the best practice, you can see about Karo Sambhav, which is a Delhi-based PRO, has integrated informal aggregators in its collection mechanisms. Also, I could say about the IIT Hyderabad launched AmTech courses for e-waste resources. So that is some of the good steps towards making the people know about the process of going in for the recycling of these East rules. And therefore, Manika Malhotra Jain, who was a research associate and coordinator, Policy Perspective Foundation, has recently discussed about this particular sector and how this sector can be reformed in the coming time periods. Because with the increase in population, with the increase in time period, slowly and slowly, we can see that the e-waste is directly generating more and more in this coming scenario. So therefore, it should be very much proper to have a particular phenomenon where we could directly tackle all such number of items associated with this e-waste rules. Okay, so we have this MCQs for your attempt. Okay, so please do attempt this MCQs and do join our WhatsApp and Telegram channel for further updates. That's all for today. Thank you and Jai Hind.